This year in church, our theme has been being human. The central question, what are the joys and challenges of being a person in this time and in this place? Is it more frightening in some ways to be a person today than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, or 10,000 years ago? Is there something more joyful and hopeful about being a person today that we can take pride in? So, this Sunday, Gavin and Caroline are going to be in dialogue with me about some of those questions. I didn't know their answers this week until the first service, and they might divert a little bit, and we'll find out what they have to say about those issues with us. Caroline, you want to start again? So, one of the big questions that we're asking, why don't we step closer? This year is there anything really joyful about being a person right now that maybe somebody who lived 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago wouldn't have known? And a way that I like to start with that is to just ask myself if I've had a joyful moment that I can identify recently. So is there a moment of joy that you've had that you want to share with us, and we can kind of break it down and see what joy looks like?
Just like...
Even the one that you shared earlier with me.
Okay. So this year, our Girl Scout troop went on a camp out to Paris, Texas, and we did laser tag and archery and stuff, but we also did a Pinewood Derby race, and my car won like 4th place or 5th place or something, and that made me really joyful because my dad and I worked really hard on the car.
And so can you tell me why when I asked you about joy, that was the memory that came up? What does joy feel like?
It feels peaceful and calm.
So to you, is it different than being excited or being just happy?
It's pretty similar.
Okay. And what do you think makes other people joyful?
Other people,
like any of these people. Do you think there are things that make them feel that kind of feeling that you felt of joy? If you were going to guess what would make some of these folks feel joy, what might it be?
Maybe if they got a job they wanted or something.
Okay, meaningful work. Does meaningful work make anybody feel joyful? Okay, that's good. What else?
Maybe if something good happened to their family.
Oh, so something to share joy with your family. Does that make anybody feel joyful? Okay, so we're on the right track. What about the other side of the coin? About things that maybe worry us or make us scared. Can you tell everybody here how old you are?
I'm 10.
Okay. So can you think of things that might make you worried, or that you think 10-year-olds in the world, what are the kind of things that 10-year-olds would worry about?
10-year-olds generally worry about friends.
Okay.
And school and family.
Okay. Why friends? What would you worry about with friends?
Maybe losing one of your friends.
Yeah. So the strength of your relationships. What about your family? What would worry you about family?
I worry about something happening to one of my family members.
Yeah. And school, you said worry about school. Why would you worry about school?
If there's an upcoming test or something.
Yeah. Does anybody else worry about the strength of your relationships and whether you might lose a friend? How about doing a good job at school or at work? And do you worry about things happening to your family and the people that you love? Yeah. Those are pretty shared experiences. One of the big questions that we're wrestling with this year in worship is kind of what does it mean to be a person? In theological language, it's called theological anthropology, which means, why is it so hard to be a person? What do you think is the best part of being alive as a human?
The best part about being alive as a human is the ability to convey emotions through words and our body, and also be able to help other people figure out their emotions.
So what kind of emotions do you want to convey to the people who are important to you?
Joy.
Yeah. And how do you know when someone else is joyful?
You can tell based on how they act or their facial expressions.
How do you know when somebody loves you?
That's more of a, you can just tell, kind of.
You just know it when you know it? Yeah. So you think the best part about being alive is being able to share your experience with people and to help one another. Yeah, I think those are really two great parts about being alive. What about the other question? What's the hardest part about being a person?
The hardest part about being a person for me is when I see things that other people have done to hurt other people or the planet or an animal or something.
Why do you think, this is a follow-up question, why do you think we do that? Why would we hurt other people or an animal or the planet?
Based on anger, usually, or sadness.
What do you think, this is a big question, and one that I think few of us in the room have worked out yet. If anger and sadness to you are some of the reasons why we would hurt other people, what would be the answer? If that's the problem, what's the medicine? What do you think helps us not to do that, to be better to one another?
I don't know.
It's a big question. It's the question. It's the big question that we ask kind of our whole lives. Do you think that there's something that you know, you're 10, yeah? Something that you know about being alive as a 10-year-old that the people in this room who are my age or older or younger than me might have forgotten or don't know what it's like to be a 10-year-old right now? Is there advice that you have for us or something about being 10 right now that we should know?
Some stuff about electronics.
That's a good answer, yeah. I did a lot of internet-related help this week, and now I'm finding that I'm needing it, which is interesting, yeah. So, we can help each other understand the world. And you can help me and other people understand how to use the world more easily. Yeah. What do you think a church is for?
A church is a place where people can go to feel safe and feel loved and to be themselves.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
So do I. I think that's a good answer. Do you have any questions for me about our church or anything that you want to share before I ask Gavin his answers?
What's the best part about being a minister?
Well, there's a lot of good parts about it. It's a very weird and hard job, but I think the best part is that I get to be invited into people's lives in this way that most people don't. There's a lot of great jobs in the world, but when you build furniture for somebody, which is a great job, often you don't know how they're doing with their kids or their marriage or whether they're sick. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've been invited to be with two people when they got really sick and on the day before they died. I got to be with those people, and almost nobody got to be with those. And maybe that sounds weird, but it felt like the most precious honor that anybody could invite me to do, to say, I want to see you before I go. And I can look out here and I know a lot about everybody in the room. Things they struggle with, things that they're really joyful for that maybe other people will never know. And the fact that they let me do it is a really beautiful thing to me. So I think that's the best part of it. Thanks, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. All right, let's start with the joy question. Can you think of a moment of joy recently that stands out to you, maybe in the last year or this week, just something that was joyful, and tell us who was there? What did it sound like?
Well, my mom told me that her partner was pregnant, and I was really excited because just knowing that I was going to have a little brother was really exciting.
Yeah.
Someone new in the family.
Yeah, someone new in the family. What is exciting about somebody new in the family?
Well, there's someone else to be with and share feelings with.
And how do you think the feeling of joy is different than being satisfied or being happy or entertained? Does it when I asked you about joy, you thought of that specific example? You didn't say, oh, there was this great show on Netflix and I watched a lot of them at once. Or I had a good meal. Or I have a crush on somebody or something like that. You mentioned joy as a new life coming in. Why that? How is joy different than other feelings?
Well, it's like joy feels good. It's hard to explain, but
How long does it last?
that just depends on what's happening.
So it depends on what makes you joyful. Yeah. And how old are you?
12.
12. So your life, your concerns may be a little bit different than Caroline's for any reason. But I'm curious to know, what do 12-year-olds right now, or you, worry about?
I worry about forgetting things. School, just family things, just forgetting anything.
Do you mean forgetting like this memory is important and I don't want to lose it, or, oh my gosh, my homework?
Yeah, homework.
Homework, yeah. So I bet if I ask this room if other people are worried about forgetting things, yep, that's a thing. That is a thing that happens. What specifically about being 12 right now? Is there something that you know about being alive, or that you think 12-year-olds know about being alive that the rest of us need to hear?
Well, it's a different time. I mean, it goes back to the technology thing, but that's...
Why do you think it's different? Why do you think it's different for you than when I was 12, or when other people who are maybe older than me were 12? What's different?
Well, I feel like we have more resources and just things that will help us through life.
Do you ever worry about the world?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why?
Because I know there's chaos going on, so it just worries me.
And what do you do? Kind of the medicine question, when Caroline was talking about sometimes we hurt each other because we're angry or scared. When you think about the way the world is and some of the parts that are frightening or chaotic, what helps?
Just trying to think of something peaceful or calm.
So the good news, yeah. What do you think the best part about being a person is?
Sharing feelings with others.
Sharing feelings? Any specific kind of feelings?
Well, sorrow's an often shared one, like, say at a funeral, for example.
Yep.
I think everyone's sad at the funeral, so they try and just help each other through the sadness to be happy again.
So one of the best part about being alive is being able to share a human experience with somebody, even and maybe especially the hard parts that make us closer. Is that an okay way to say it?
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about being a person?
Knowing that life's a fragile thing and can be taken away easily.
When you think about that, because I think people would share that, a lot of people would share knowing that life is fragile, especially when we lose somebody who's close to us or we love dearly. Does that change the way that you live at all?
I think you're more cautious of what you do.
Cautious like for your safety, or cautious the way that you treat people?
Both.
Both. What about kind of a question that you would have for me about life or the church?
I don't really know.
That's all right, you don't have to have it. Anything that you want these folks to know?
About.
Let's say you could look at the congregation and say one thing that you all could get your act together about. That's a preacher's kind of question. But if you could say, look, I'm 12 years old. You could help me and my generation by doing this, or by remembering this. What would it be?
Well, I feel like kids just need a lot of help being guided through life because we make a lot of mistakes and we just need help.
Perfect. I think that's a shared experience too. Thanks to both of you for reflecting on that with me. I appreciate it.